How's it going, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another action-packed episode of Tring Shoe Repairs. As always, I'm Dan. Big welcome if you're new here. And if you couldn't tell by my scruffs, it's another Sunday episode. And the reason for that is we've got a big job on our hands. I'm excited to show you. We've got another pair of R.A.F. ammo boots. So we're doing a full restoration on this, including replacing all of the ironwork, which I love doing, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy seeing. Keep watching, see what it's all about. Okay, so once again, big welcome back, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Drop down in the comments what you've been up to, and hope you enjoyed the last video where we took the trip to the day-night factory. That was a lot of fun. But let me tell you what we've got. So we have this pair of ammo boots or parade boots. And the reason I say parade boots is they are usually worn on parade or during ceremony or for doing drills by the R.A.F. and also the Army. Now the boot itself is actually made up of 3 layers of leather, so it's very thick, very heavy duty. All we're doing today is replacing the top layer of leather, which is a half sole, and replacing all the worn out ironwork. Now, something that I find really interesting is we have the treble hobs here, or hobnails. These ones have the 3 sides, so they're treble hob. There's just about 2 left there, and the rest are all worn away, but the leather sole is perfectly intact. And I find that wild, because usually you would still have a bunch of these hobnails to be able to pull off, but the leather sole is pretty trashed, so it's unique to see it like this. Anyway, we've got our work cut out for us, but if you stick around to the very end of the video, I've got a military-themed adventure I'm going to take you on. All right, so first thing we've got to think about is getting all our metal work off, so I'll pop it on the last. Take these out and keep them aside for later. Some of these screws are too worn out to unscrew, so we're just going to have to wrench them off. Doesn't matter, we're replacing all the leather. I should say before we carry on, Ron's missing, but we're going to enlist Army Ron for this video. So for these 2 little treble hobs here, they're going to be really stuck in that leather, so we need to loosen up a bit. So we're going to use some sole stripper, the good old jerk off. And that's going to debond the glue of the leather sole for us to take it off in a minute, but also loosen up those bits of metal. So just get some pincers and see if we can just wiggle our way under him. So there we are, there's the old sole with all the old bits of metal on there. So they've all been nicely extracted. There's one rogue screw still here actually. There he is. So as you can see, the second layer of the leather sole is perfectly intact and all the stitches are intact. So it's absolutely fine. We can go ahead and put our 3rd layer of leather sole just cemented on top. But we still need to get this horseshoe heel off. So this next bit, to get the horseshoe heel off, I normally use a screwdriver and use this tatty old one. And I've got a new one, or rather it's actually very old. This thing here is my granddad's screwdriver, and God knows how old it is. But my granddad himself is 91, and it's actually his wedding anniversary, 60 years married to my nan, Margaret. So if you guys wish them a happy wedding anniversary, I will show them all the comments. Okay, so everything is stripped down. We need to build up the heel a little bit on the back, but first I just wanted to show you the leather sole. So this is our oak bark premium leather sole. The reason I'm using that is because it's actually quite soft, so it makes it easier for us to hammer all the ironwork into. So next we just need to sand up our shoe and sand our sole to shape, and we can glue everything together and stick it on. Right, so we've got everything sanded up, so it's time to glue our components up. So I've got Lieutenant Ron ready to help. So for the first time in this video, let's get sticky. Stop laughing. If you see the camera shaking, it's because camera girl Carla finds Let's Get Sticky very amusing. Okay, so we're going to let everything dry for a few minutes and then heat it up and stick it together. So just while the glue on the sole is drying, I can talk to you about the horseshoe and tell you what we need to do. So the horseshoe itself is made up of the metal like that goes around the outside, and the insert is going to be made of leather. So we need to cut that size and make it. Now, of course, the horseshoes themselves, we buy them come in different sizes. This is 3 1/4 inch. And of course, we need to pick exactly the right size. So see if it lines up, and perfect fit. So I'll just explain to you guys what I'm doing with putting glue on the heel at the minute, and that's because I like to get the leather insert on now before the horseshoe, put it in place, secure it, and then we have a nice anchor to put the horseshoe around when we're putting all our heavy duty nails in. Freeze!
I surrender.
Right, so now our sole is hotter than a ghost chili pepper. We can stick it on. Okay, so before we move on to the ironwork, what we're going to do is go around and make sure the soles are all ready for us to polish up. So what we're doing is taking very fine sandpaper. This is about 800 grit. And I'm just going around, and this is going to give us a really smooth finish to the leather, which makes it easier for us to polish up once we put ink on it. Can you guys see my Muscle Car Avenue sign? It's kindly donated by a customer. All right guys, so it's time to get our treble hobs on. So what we're going to do first is soak the leather or wet the leather, because a little trick, these hobnails are very tough to get in. We have to hammer them in with a lot of elbow grease, but if we soften up the leather, that just lets them go in a bit easier. So what I've actually got is a bottle of mineral water, and the reason I do that is just because the water here in Tring out of the tap is very chalky and it leaves white marks on the leather. It doesn't hugely matter because we're going to stain this sole black afterwards, but as a force of habit, that's why I use the mineral water. Just let that soak in, soften things up a bit. So getting our treble hobs in, I've got a big tin of my treble hobs here, and there's a specific pattern that we need to put them in, and the pattern is 2, 3, 4, 4, and that's just the traditional way that the R.A.F used to do it. And you do have to get it right, guys. If you get it wrong, people are going to know. People are going to point at you in the street. Children are going to cry. Cats are going to hiss at you. All that bad stuff. So when I put the hobnails in, I just eyeball it. I recommend you measure it or use a template, but I've been doing this long enough, I can pretty much know where they're going. So just get it going with a few taps and then a couple of sharp, and he's in. Make sure you've taken any insoles out of the boot so you've got a nice solid surface to hammer against. And then just go around and make sure they're nice and solid before we move on to the heel. Okay, so now we've got our horseshoe heel. Because of our forward thinking, we've got a nice anchor to just slide him on and then go around and get our horseshoe nails in. So here are our horseshoe nails in my perfectly labeled pot. And the nails themselves are really big and really heavy duty. So what I like to do is just make a small pilot hole in the heel block first before we whack them in. Now one thing I like to do with the horseshoe, of course, I've had to just sand it to shape a little bit. I'm now going to go around with a file and get rid of these sharp corners we've created, just to make sure that, heaven forbid, it was to go anywhere near a person, it's not so much a lethal weapon, these, you know, really sharp metal corners. We just round it off a little bit. It also looks nicer, in my opinion. So we're getting there. We've got most of our ironwork on. We've got the toe plate to do yet, but what I want to do now is just get the color on. I'm going to stain the sole black, and of course we've got to do the edges, paint them black, and then the toe plate could be the finishing touch. going to go around the edges with the sapphire medal door. Now this has got beeswax in it, so a lot of the military guys will be familiar with using beeswax to get a real high shine on the edges, which I don't have time to do today, but I'm going to get it started at least. Okay, so let's just get this toe plate on and then we will be finished. Now these can be fiddly to stay in place. Of course, the screws are quite industrial. So what I like to do is just line up the central hole, get it in place, and then we can wiggle it a bit. There we are. And then go around and do the rest. These toe plates will be a little bit curved and they will just fit the shape of the sole once we cinch it down. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. Okay, so there we are, job done. Okay guys, so there we go, job done on our ammo boots. So we've replaced the leather sole and done all of the ironwork, being the horseshoe heel, toe plates, and of course the treble hobs. But we're not done yet. I did say I was going to take you on a military themed adventure. Let's go. So I've just driven over to R.A.F. Halton, which is an Air Force base about 10 minutes away, and I want to show you something. There's a fighter jet on the lawn outside the headquarters, and it's a pretty famous piece of scenery around here. Everybody knows it, and like I said, I've grown up around here, so I've seen this thing for the last 30 years driving past. I remember when my dad pointed it out for me for the first time. Anyway, I'm going to fly the jet now, but I'm not allowed to show you that in the YouTube video. So you might say, why is that relevant? Well, a lot of the ammo boots that we get in are brought from the guys that are stationed here at R.A.F. Halton. Okay, so back in the shop, guys, because it is the end of the video. But before I leave you, I want to tell you something interesting about these ammo boots. And that is that the customer actually found these in a charity shop for just £3. And the job we've done today was £160. So not bad investment for the customer to get these back to their former glory. But that is the end of the video, guys. If you did like the video, make sure to hit like. It helps the algorithm, tells everybody else that there's something worth watching here, and hit your notification bell so you are kept in the loop for every time I upload something new. And as always, check out our website, shoerepair.com, if you need any of the sapphire shoe polish or to talk to me about a shoe repair. It does take me about 3 days to get through my email, so please be patient. But for now, I'm out of here. It's Sunday. I am heading over to my parents' house for a Sunday roast dinner. Hope you guys are doing something fun as well, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers. Carla, the camera girl, got jerk off all over her shoes. Is it filming? Yeah. My amazing trick. I should be in the circus. So I'll just explain what I'm doing to you, not to you, or you, all the viewers, like the shoe.